This is a brand new unit, and we're going to be doing something called the system of equations. But in order to get there, we need to take a step back and just review how to solve these equations. Remember, the goal is to get the equation where the variable is on one side of the equation all by itself. And these are the four basic steps that we'll go through. And rather than solving this equation all the way through and then doing this one all the way through and then going down to the third one, what we'll do is we'll go through these four steps, one step at a time on each equation. Okay? So, step one, get rid of any parentheses using multiplication. Are there any parentheses here? Nope. What about on this one? Nope. What about the third one? Yes, we've got parentheses right there. So how do we do that? Take the number that's on the outside of the parentheses and the sign in front of it. You know, this is a minus sign, but we're going to think of it as a negative, and we're going to use multiplication. So negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2, and we're going to write a negative 2 right here. And then the last thing that we do is we use this outside negative 2 again, and we're going to multiply it for the second part right here. But since there is no number in front of the x, just put a 1 there. And in the same way that we use the sign in front of this 2 right here to think of it as a negative, we're going to use this sign right here to determine the sign of this. So it's going to become a negative 1x. So negative 2 times positive 1 got us negative 2, and now negative 2 times negative 1x would get us positive 2x, because negative times negative is positive. Okay, so everything from green all the way here to the end has been replaced by negative 2 plus 2x. Everything else that you haven't used, it just falls straight down. So that got rid of any parentheses that we saw in these. Now the second step is to simplify the left side if needed, and then simplify the right side if needed. So this is what that means. You ask yourself, is there anything that I can combine together? Well, since this 7 has an x and this doesn't have an x, I cannot combine the left side. But then look at the right side of the equal sign and see if we can do anything there. We had the same issue. This 4 has an x and this 1 does not have an x, so we can't do anything. So for step 2, there's nothing we can do with this very first problem. Let's go through and check the second one here. There's no parentheses, but can I combine anything on the left side? Remember, we always attach that sign in front of a number with it. So this, we would think of it as 5. Ignore this and the x. It would be 5 minus 2 is 3. And then the minus x can just fall straight down there. Let's go check the right side of the problem. Oh, look. You'll see that the 3 and the 5 don't have x's, so it's 3. And then the sign in front of the 5 is a plus. So 3 plus 5 is 8. And then the plus 4x can fall straight down. This equal sign just needs to fall straight down also. So there we have it. We were able to simplify the left side of the equation because we had like terms, and then we could simplify the right side of the equation because we had the right terms. Let's go down and take a look at this mess down here. Don't worry about the right side. Is there anything here on the left side that we can combine? The 3 is not able to be combined, so that'll just fall down. But negative 5x plus 2x would be negative 3x. So we're going to write negative 3x right here. And the equal sign would just fall down in the exact spot that it was, right? Let's go check the right side of the equation. So here's what we have. Sometimes you can combine, sometimes you can't. These do not have x's on them, so negative 2 minus 2 would be negative 4, and I'm going to write that right here. So these are gone. It's been replaced by negative 4, and the plus 2x can fall straight down, but I'm just going to tuck it in a little bit closer there. So if you look at what we've done on every single equation so far, we got rid of parentheses first, and then we check to see, hey, can I combine anything on the left side? If we can, we do. If we can't, we don't. So the 7x minus 17, we couldn't do anything there. But here, the 5 minus 2 got us 3, right? And over here, the 3 plus 5 got us 8. And over here, the negative 5x plus 2x got us the negative 3x, and the negative 2 minus 2 got us the negative 4. So that's what's happening there. Now, this was the new part to 8th grade math, is step 3 is after you simplify the left and right sides, if you're able to, get all the variables to one side of the equation. And so since I've got an x on the left side of the equal sign and I've got x's to the right side of the equal sign, we can just basically use adding or subtracting to get rid of one side. So since this is positive 4x, I'm just going to subtract 4x there, and that makes that go away. And then we're going to put the minus 4x right underneath the 7x, because what you do to one side, you do to the other. And so 7x minus 4x is 3x. The minus 17 comes down. The equal sign right here comes down. And if I had nothing left over here, I would put a 0. Not a 0x, but just a 0. But because I have this positive 1, I'm just going to drop that 1 straight on down. I am cheating it a little bit closer to the equal sign to make it a little easier to see. So let's go over and let's get all of our variables to one side on this one. First off, anytime you don't see a number in front of a variable, you can always put a 1 there. So it'd be like a negative 1x or minus 1x. And in this case, I know I can minus 4x here and get rid of this, and then I could put minus 4x there, but it doesn't matter. We can also say plus 1x right here. So this is just a choice that I'm making. And then let's do the same to this side. Now, the decision that you have to make here is, do I put a plus sign or a minus sign in front of this 5x? Because 4 plus 1 is 5. Well, since it's positive, use a plus sign there. Okay? So we've got all our variables to one side. Let's go through and check the very last problem here. Again, we have variables on both sides of the equal sign. I can say plus 3x and plus 3x to get rid of this one. Or I could say minus 2x and minus 2x. Let's just go ahead and say minus 2x here. Not because we have to, but just because I chose to. Do the same to the other side. This 3 right here falls straight down. Negative 3 minus 2 is not negative 1. It's actually negative 5. And they have x's on there, so I'll put the x right there. The equal sign falls straight down, and the negative 4 is just sitting over here all by itself because this went away. So that was taking care of the third step of every single equation right there, of getting all the variables to one side of the equation. Solve the remaining equation. It will either be a 1 or 2-step equation. And remember, you just have to ask yourself, this is your x, which one do you want to get rid of first, the multiplying number or the subtracting one? Always get rid of the subtracting or adding number first. So since this is minus 17, we'll add 17. So x equals 6. Let's go and solve the second one here. Here's our x right here. The 5 is multiplying and the 8 is adding, so we want to get rid of this number first. Always get rid of adding or subtracting numbers first. So x equals negative 1. And here's our very last one right here. The 3 is subtracting, and the 5 here is actually multiplying. So get rid of this 3 first. You can't add 3 though. Don't use this to figure that out though. If you say 3 plus 3 like this, 3 plus 3 is 6, and that's not going to help us. What could I do? Instead of adding 3, let's just subtract 3. And negative 4 minus 3 would be negative 7. We'll drop that equal sign straight down. Now over here at this one, can you see if I covered up the 3 minus 3 right here, we're left with negative 5x? That is what's going to be falling down here. And this is usually where people start to panic in this very situation right here. Negative 5 is multiplying x, so we divide it by negative 5. And then we have to divide this by negative 5, and this is where people start to think, well, I've done something wrong. You've not done anything wrong. So what you would be having left over here, a negative divided by negative, would be a positive. Or you could call it a 1 and 2/5, 7/5 or 1 and 2/5, or you could call it a 1.4, right? Any of these forms are the appropriate answer for this equation, and you're not always going to get an integer for your answer. So don't panic for that. But this is how we go through and basically solve these equations. Always checking these steps. Get rid of parentheses first. Simplify anything on the left side if you can, combine like terms where possible on the left side. Combine anything on the right side. Then if you notice that all the variables are on both sides of the equal sign, get them all to one side and then boom, you have a 1 or 2 step equation to solve.